Hello everybody and welcome to my channel. This will be the first video on my channel where I compare two cars. And some of you might think, what comparison is this? Because this is the same car. Well, it is the same car basically, but this is a non-facelift and this is a facelift Mitsubishi Colt, and I will compare them to see what has changed and if the changes were for good or for bad. In the same time, you can see that I'm sweating. Maybe I should have taken another shirt like Doug DeMuro because he's also sweating, but you can cope with that, I hope. Let's go to see what are the differences between these cars. But before doing that, let me tell you what we have here. So, as you may know, this is a Mitsubishi Colt non-facelift. This car was made at the end of 2004, so at the moment of the filming it's almost 17 years old. And this one, it's a facelift Mitsubishi Colt that was produced in 2010. Both cars are equipped with a 1.3 petrol engine that is developing 95 horsepower. The only difference is that the facelift one has an exterior body kit that is similar to that of the powerful version Rally Art, the one with 1.5 petrol and 150 horsepower. The only thing that it's different at Rally Art is that it has here a badge with orange and red, that is the badge of the Rally Art. Okay, so first let's discuss the design difference between the non-facelift and the facelift, because there are quite of a differences. The non-facelift version has the typical design for the Mitsubishi in the first part of the 2000s, with this grille that was separated in two parts that can be found in the Lancer from that period, on the van that was called Grandis. And speaking of the van, you can maybe see that this Colt has a van shape, even if it's a super mini in England, and in Europe it's B-class, B-segment car. It looks like a van, but trust me, it doesn't drive like a minivan. On the other side, the facelift version has the design that was put on all the Mitsubishi models in this period, after 2007, if I remember well, because this angry face appeared also on the second generation Outlander, also appeared on the last Lancer that we had in Europe that was launched in 2007, and so on. As I said, this is the Rally Art looks. It's different, and you see the difference. You'll see it better when I will put the car face to face. This has a higher bonnet that is similar to that of the minivans. This has a lower, and from what it seems, a longer bonnet. And for those of you who don't know, because the car is black, you don't see the difference, but this shape, the grille, this is also black. So if you have the car other color, any other color than black, because this is black, this will also be black, so it will look like in that shape with all the big grille in black. So on the side, the cars look quite the same. Here the signal parts are the same, the mirrors are the same, the door handles, everything on the side is almost the same. Where there is a difference, and I will move from the view to see it, it's that the facelift version has the bonnet lowered and it's also longer, which makes the car also a little bit longer, and you will have a little bit more room, like you will see it later in the interior. Personally, I like how the facelift version looks, because it looks better, it just looks better, and it also has 16-inch alloy wheels that are original, while this version has 15-inch alloy wheels, which are also sporty, but they are not original. They have been bought from a specific shop, so they are aftermarket. In the end, as I said, I like how the facelift version looks, because it looks better in my opinion. From the back of the cars, you can see that this facelift was quite deep, because there are quite a differences. The first difference that strikes your eyes are the tail lights. These ones are much smaller than these ones, and this car looks a lot like a minivan, but it drives very sporty, and this minivan look was not in accordance with how it drives, because this car drives very sporty. But the facelift solved the things a little bit more, not at all. So you can see here these longer tail lights from up to down. These ones are shorter, but you can see the difference here. The line remained the same. You will see it when I will put the car back to back, the cars, because this was transformed in metal, what was plastic here. Also, the back window is a little bit larger from what it seems on the pre-facelift version. And another difference is the bumper, because it's totally different. This is a completely restyled bumper. It has the reflectors here, while these ones are here in the tail light, and here it has a black plastic area. And another thing that was changed was the Colt font, that here it's more dynamic, more sporty, while that one it's more like a mom car. On the back, I want to share with you a small detail that I observed, and that I think is very curious. If you look here on the line, you can imagine the old tail lights, because it's the same shape as this one, just that this part of plastic in the superior has been replaced here with a metal one. So you can imagine the old tail lights, you can imagine them here, and you can see that it's the same line. This is cost-saving tricks, let's say. So something very curious that I liked. Now we are in the interior, and we will start with the interior of the non-facelift version. On the door panel, this area with those square design, it has soft touch materials, which is nice for a car like this in that period. Otherwise, this is hard plastic, but it's quite solid. This is how the car looks from the driver's position. Again, we have soft touch materials here on the upper part of the dashboard. Everything that it's with these square design, but here it's hard plastic, but quite good. The steering wheel is simple for that period, and here we have some sport gauges. I think this is one of the first models that got this type of sporty gauges that in the next years became much more popular. There are a lot of cubby spaces and storage spaces here, a lot of space in the door panels. There is here again another big space and a smaller one here. I don't know what you can do with it. These cubbies can be found also on the passenger side. Otherwise, here is another storing space. It doesn't work too well now after so many years. We have climate control, but it's not automatic, it's manual. At least you can set the temperature. In the gauges, in the night, the color is green, and there are a lot of cubby spaces here and here and so on. The seats are quite comfortable, and the window is very big, and the car, you will see, it's very practical. Now I'm sitting in the facelift version inside, and you can see that the general feeling here, it's quite similar, but there are still quite of differences. And sadly, there are no more soft touch materials inside anywhere in the facelift version. You see this area with those little squares designed, where in the facelift version it was composed of a soft touch materials. Here not anymore. This is hard plastic. On the dashboard, again, all these area with those little squares, all it's hard plastics. Now, they are solid. The building quality, it's still good, but this is a downside. Otherwise, the practicality is almost the same. The door bins are exactly the same. The buttons on the door are the same. Just that here, we don't have any more those cubbies that were very useful. I don't know why. In the center console, we have different commands for the climatization, for the climate control. Here appeared, instead of that covered area, now it's opened. And the gauges here, there are no more 3 gauges, there are only 2 of them, because the third one, which was the fuel level that was analog in the facelift, here now, you see here, it's electronic. But here there are more modern, and now in the night they are illuminated with orange and not green anymore. Sadly, also that storage area under the passenger seat disappeared also, but compared to the facelift version, this car has heated seats. Of course, depends on how the first owner, what option they choose, and it also has rain sensor. Otherwise, the downside is that the facelift version feels more qualitative for the materials, and here the practicality is a little bit lower, but at the same time this interior feels more modern because of the little changes that they made here in the instrument panels, on the center console and so on. And the seat also feels better that in the facelift version. Let's see if in the back it's different or the same. I'm now sitting in the back of the car, of the Colt, and it's quite roomy here for a car that small. I'm 182 meters tall, and the chair, it's pushed to the back for my size, and look how much room I still have for my knees. Here you also have some storage space and a hook here for, I don't know, a bag, or something like a shirt, or I don't know, you decide what. And here, surprise surprise, soft touch materials on the back door on a class from the B segment. Yes, super mini. You don't see that this day. Yes, of course, it's only this area with those squares. Here it's hard plastic, but still soft touch materials. Now, the trunk of this car is very small. From what I know, it's only 220 liters. Because the car is roomy, they had to cut from the trunk. But this car was equipped with an option where you can slide the bench on the front, and you will obtain more space in the trunk. Just look the difference between the bench, the back seats in the normal position, and here when they are when you slide them to the front. I will do this also on the back. Let's see. Okay, and look now that the trunk is much bigger. Of course, it will be hard if I drive for someone to sit in the back. But for example, if the driver is shorter, or for example, if a woman drives, because they are generally shorter than men, of course, there will be some room in the back for a child, or even for a person that it's not that big, and you'll have bigger trunk. But of course, keep in mind that this was optional, so not all Mitsubishi Colts are equipped with this very smart thing. I'm sitting now on the back seats of the facelift version, and just like in the front, there are here hard plastics everywhere, solid but hard plastics, so no more soft touch materials like in the non-facelift version, like in the old version. And also we lost those hooks that were here, and the cubbies on the back of the seat. But in the same time, I have more room. Okay, now, as I said, I didn't move the chair, and the one who borrowed me the car is a little shorter, and the chair, it's pushed a little bit to the front. But if you look at my clip where I reviewed this car 1 year ago in Romanian, but you have English subtitles, you will see that there I put the chair in my position, and there was still a lot of room to my knees, so there is much more room than in the old version, non-facelift version. And also in the non-facelift version, I was sitting much higher, something like that, and it was not quite comfortable. Here in the facelift version, the back seat is lower, and I'm sitting much better. So even if the old version has some better materials and some better practicality, this non-facelift version is more comfortable. Okay, we are now driving the non-facelift version, the old version. For those of you who are interested in how the facelift version drives, I have the clip from last year where I tested the facelift version alone, and that clip, even if it's in Romanian, it has English subtitles. Many things are quite similar with the facelift version. the car feels very sporty. Look how stiff is the steering wheel. I'm doing this, and at even the slightest move, the car is feeling it and the car responds. The car feels very sporty to drive, like in the old days, in the gold days of Mitsubishi, and that it's very nice. The downside is that it's quite loud, and the facelift version, while it drives similar in sportiness, it's a little bit quieter and more comfortable than this one. The comfort in this one is somewhere in the middle, not bad, not good. The comfort in the facelift version is better, but otherwise this is a great car to have fun with, and you can have a lot of fun driving this car. Apart from this, from having fun with it, the car feels very roomy. The window, it's big. The side windows are also big. The mirrors, the side mirrors are also big, and generally there is a lot of light coming in this car, and compared to the cars nowadays that feel like you're in a cave with small windows and so on, this feels very relaxed, and I like that it has a lot of light. But as I said, the facelift version drives a little better because it's more comfortable, quieter, while it still have the same sportiness. So now, in conclusion, which is better? Because usually a facelift version should be better than its non-facelift counterpart. Well, the non-facelift version, it's more practical, has more cubbies and smart things, smart practical things inside, and also better materials inside. It has some soft touch materials inside. On the other hand, the facelift version is little bit longer, so it's roomier, it's more roomy. It's also more comfortable, the seats are better, and the back seat also it's better. And when you drive it, the facelift version is also more quiet. So because of this, I would prefer the facelift version, but I'm still remaining with that bitter taste because I would have liked to have those materials from the facelift version and the practicality, which is good, but with the materials and the practicality tricks that it had the non-facelift version, this could have been an almost perfect car.